Hey guys, it's Juan here with What's Crypto Portfolio, and this is your weekly crypto market update. All right, guys, let's dive right into it, starting with Bitcoin as usual. This is remarkable, guys. This is actually quite remarkable. And I touched on this on the written issue, which I recommend you read first before you watch these videos. But I'm not sure I I got my point across. Let me show you how close Bitcoin is from crossing this downtrend line whilst not actually crossing above it. Now, if I zoom in here, this is Friday of last week. This is Friday, August 7. Bitcoin briefly pokes above the trend line, but ultimately fails to cross above it. Then we have 2 days. These 2 days, you could say, well, yeah, Juan, that is a crossover, right? I mean, Bitcoin crossed above on Saturday and on Sunday. Here's the problem. That's weekend trading. Bitcoin was essentially unchanged over the weekend. Nothing happened in the geopolitical front. That's usually why Bitcoin moves lately on the weekends. Iran stuff, Middle Eastern stuff. That doesn't really count. This is why I said many, many times, like I want to see what the crossover actually is before I rule on it. Now, if you want to know, my algorithmic model will require 3 consecutive closes above this trend line. Part of that reason is the weekend effect, which we can rule out. So I had a perfect rule, and I allow myself to be a bit more manual here with these when I have to manually call whether or not this is a crossover. Even if we had 3 consecutive closes because Friday barely inched above the line, I would still say this doesn't count. And the reason it doesn't count is quite simple. As soon as markets open on Monday, Bitcoin went back below the line. And as you can see, since Friday, which it's been a week, there have been attempts to cross above the line every single day, and it hasn't done it. So at this point, Bitcoin is in a very, very precarious position. It hasn't crossed above. Not only does it need to cross above the line, it needs to stay there. Now, because of what the market is doing, if Bitcoin were to rally to, say, 64, 65, and then proceed to drift downwards in the same fashion that it's doing right now, that would technically be a crossover because what Bitcoin would be doing is something like this. It would go to 65, and then it would drift downwards, and it would stay above the line for weeks. And that does count as a crossover. But isn't this remarkable? I don't recall, I've never seen this, actually. I have never seen Bitcoin get so close to crossing up above a threshold or to cross a threshold and fail to do so. I've said it many times. This price action to me is like 90% probability Bitcoin does cross above the line at some point. Here's some caveats to that, though. Liquidity is looking pretty abysmal right now. And so Bitcoin is going to start a downtrend at some point very, very soon. And it will cross below this 20-day cycle low right here. This is a 20-day cycle low. Once it does that, or rather, if it does that before crossing the line, there's almost no hope that this line gets crossed. Almost none. And it would probably signal that Bitcoin is heading back to, not back, down to about 52, 50K. So it really, really, really needs to cross. And this is why I want to center the video on this. This crossover has not happened. There have been attempts to cross. In fact, every single day this week, Bitcoin has attempted to cross above the line. It has failed to do so every single time. I don't recall ever seeing this, which is why I keep saying there's a 90% probability here that it's going to cross. By that, what I mean when I say I don't recall ever seeing this, what I've never seen is Bitcoin get so close to this line, attempt to cross it on multiple occasions, multiple consecutive occasions, and then ultimately fail to actually confirm the crossover. That I have never seen. So that's why I say there's 90+% chance we get the crossover, we confirm the 4-year cycle low. In case you're unclear why this crossover matters, it's the 4-year cycle low. It confirms it.